Greetings YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about the latest RPG book that I have read, Wars, the role-playing game. This is from Mongoose Publishing and is part of their open gaming license line. This is based on a game from Decipher, which is their tagline is The Art of Great Games, which was a collectible card game. Now the premise is that there are three human factions in the 24th century in our solar system battling for supremacy. Earthers, people loyal to Earth, includes colonies outside our planet, but they're all turn their faces towards Earth when it comes to looking for who's in charge and who's giving orders. Very corporate-centric. Then there's the Gongen, which are an Asian-run Martian colony. Essentially, the Asia was racked by some nuclear disasters, and they pretty much picked up stake and flew their buns over to Mars and settled that planet. And the last group are the Mavericks, the people who live in the asteroid belt, the Oort cloud, on stations floating through space, on ships, what have you. They're the absolute riffraff, but there's enough of them, and they're organized enough, at least on a criminal level, to be a threat to the other two factions. Now, you throw into this a rift in space-time, and out of nowhere, a planet shows up with two alien races who are also at war. So now you find yourself in a place, our pleasant little solar system, with 5 different groups at war with each other. Now, as a collectible card game, this makes sense. This would let you have 5 players involved, each choosing a different faction, you know, and face-to-face, and it would allow a lot of mixing things up, and it would make absolute sense for a card game. I got no problem with it. The depth of storyline is just what you need to make an interesting science fiction card game. It makes absolutely no sense for a role-playing game. There's never been a 5-way war in human history. You have 2-way wars. People choose up sides, they go to war, one side loses, one side wins, and the winners later go to war with each other. That's how it works. So right from the get-go, I've got a problem with the premise of this role-playing game. I don't think the setting itself is going to work. But I got a good deal on it. It was 15 bucks. Got a teeny little ding right here in the corner. No big deal. In great shape. The book is beautiful. Cover art is great. The interior art is color. It's very nicely done. It's evocative of the science fiction setting. It's illustrative of the things they talk about. There's a nice little section when they're talking about 2-weapon fighting. It shows this woman like using 2 pistols flying backwards through the air. Very cinematic. And all I can imagine, she's going to hit the ground really hard and she's not going to get back up again. But I have nothing to complain about the artwork. They did a really nice job. The production values on this are excellent. They talk about the 3 different factions of humans. They give some backgrounds. They say how it affects character development. And anyone who's ever read any of the open gaming license rules, you know, the 3.5, 3.0 system, will be completely familiar with this. So I'm not going to run over the details. There are some differences, though. For example, they've decided to do away with the traditional armor class. They use a defense value, which is their term for armor class for as far as being avoid being hit. So you have it's based on 10 plus your dex and a value that goes up as you gain levels. So as you get higher level, you get better at moving and avoiding being hit. I kind of understand that. Armor is strictly damage resistance, and every kind of armor has 2 ratings. The first rating is for the level of protection it gives you against energy attacks, lasers, plasmas, things like that. And the second one is the damage resistance it gives you versus physical attacks, bullets, knives, clubs, what have you. Which also makes sense, because armor can be designed to be ablative, so it reflects and energy really effectively, but it isn't necessarily tough. Or it can be really tough, you know, Kevlar weaves with ceramic plates that isn't going to be necessarily very good at absorbing or avoiding damage from a laser. So that kind of makes sense. That's the major difference, really, here. The rest of things are a little more subtle. For example, the one thing I was confused by was the feat far shot. Now in 3.5, far shot says if you use a bow or a crossbow, you get 50% more range. And if you're throwing a weapon, you get twice as much range. Makes perfect sense, medieval setting, lots of people throwing stuff, no problem. They changed it in this so that there is no bonus to throwing weapons, which I don't understand why they took that away. Yes, I realize in a setting with lasers and pistols and machine guns, people are much less likely to throw things, but the game has grenades. So if you have this feat, why aren't you good at throwing grenades? So I thought that was kind of a cheap shot. It isn't even a balance issue. I just don't know why they left it out. It makes no sense to me. This game has cybernetics. It's got some weapon stats, ship stats, things like that. Just enough to get you rolling. I don't think there's a whole lot of, I think you really want to flesh this out a little if you were going to be running this for a while on your own. But there's definitely, you could take this right out of the box and go. And another thing this game has is it has psionic rules. They call them Kizen. And the psionic rules are basically that when the planet showed up, the energy released gave all kinds of people different powers. And it's an adaptation of the expanded psionics rules from 3.5, really changed quite a bit to suit a science fiction setting, and they did a wonderful job. There are different disciplines like telepathy, telekinesis, manipulating people, physically enhancing your body through your mind. I mean, you can get incredibly strong in this game, and that's kind of cool. So I like what they did. I think it's a really nice flavor. It's a really good take on psionics. And one other thing, which I'll do real quick here, if I can give you, they also have reputation rules and action points, which is kind of nice, which is kind of cool. Here we go. Different classes. We have the diplomat. We have the engineer, which has some modifications which can be enhance all kinds of different items. We have leaders. We have medics who get no armor or weapons proficiencies. I thought that was kind of cool. We have pilots, scoundrels, and soldiers. And then one prestige class for enhancing your psionics. I think this would make a great generic setting. You could dump these rules onto Farscape, Babylon 5, Firefly, and you'd be able to go. I don't think the basic setting with the whole war thing is going to, 5-way war thing makes sense. There are 2 supplements available for this game. I've ordered both of them. When they show up, I will read them and I will do reviews on them as well. But if you like a science fiction setting, this can be found on Amazon as a used purchase, fairly reasonably priced, and I think you might like it. And if you like the card game, it's a must-buy.